Hi, hello, welcome back to another episode of Musings podcast. I'm your host Gungo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on another Saturday for another special episode. Today's episode is going to be a little bit heavy because of the topic that I'm going to talk about. Today's topic is going to be pedophiles and all of their friends. And the reason I'm talking about this is because recently there have been a lot of people writing nonsense online. Like you go online and you see people, there was this guy who had put up a photo of 2 children, or were they 3, and he had said that akapata hiyo age anapita nayo mbio sana na hawezi jali. And people had liked that on that photo, that post. They're doing this apparently for wanaita content, but that is not content. That is admission of pedophilia. This is a very terrible human being admitting to be interested in sleeping with a child. And he's put it up online, and there's some friends of his, crazy people, who go and like that. And they think that it's okay. Another post, another guy came out and wrote that kuna katoto 12 years amekuwa kikaona mahali na kikapata kakampea hawezi kataa. Like anaweza nyonya, like really, it's disgusting to talk about this because the last time I recorded it, I started feeling nauseous, and repeating it again, it's giving me the same feeling and I hate it. Because this person wrote that, and there are people who went down in the comments of his post and liked it. A lot of people were against it, don't get me wrong. A lot of people were against it. A lot of people are saying that he should be arrested. A lot of people are saying to, report his page, and that happened. But then he did not learn. Because the person who made me aware of that man, and the other one as well, was this lady, beautiful lady, very, very brave, called Wanjiku Stevens. That's her account on Instagram. And I was looking at her account, and this was happening during a week where every time you would go online, there was something wrong. Like imagine waking up in the morning, and then whenever you go online, those are the types of topic you see. Like usikimie that page, love the work that they're doing, but the stories I see there, sometimes it's just too much. I have to go sometimes for like a day or 2 days without watching the news because I don't want to hear of another death or another child who has been, harassed and hurt by their parent or their guardian or their neighbor or relative. And then you come and you look at these people and they call it content and they put it out there and you're looking at it and you are so disgusted because these people are a brother to a girl, they're an uncle, they're a cousin, and a dad. And it terrifies me to think that these people who are writing these comments, these people who are laughing and agreeing with this pedophile, they have children and they have neighbors and they have nieces and cousins, stuff like that. And my heart is racing so much. I actually have to calm myself down because, as I said, I didn't enjoy recording this the first time and I don't enjoy recording it now because it's just so terrifying to even think about it. Because who knows who these people are going to attack? They write that and they laugh and they say it was just content, I didn't mean it. But they do. The thing is, they do. And you don't know if they have already done it or if they have already had a target. Like that one who said, kuna katoto 12 years nimekaona mahali. This man has a target. And they post it online, and these police who are so quick to look for people, innocent people, to go and torture them and kill them, they do not go and look for those people and arrest them and maybe torture them. I wouldn't mind them being tortured. If a pedophile was being tortured, I'll be like, yeah, I'd clap my hands. There was that man, was it a pastor in Nyeri who was burnt alive because of sodomizing a little boy. And that boy wasn't the only child that he had had. A lot of people were complaining about that man hurting their children. And, of course, the church comes and they go like, no, he's a man of God. Let's not take it out of, control, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually he harassed this little boy, or was it a girl, the one who finally got him killed, and he got what he deserved. And I know I'm a Christian. I'm not supposed to wish ill on anybody. But the thing is this: people who commit pedophilia and rapists, they do that and they move on. And they feel like they have a badge of honor because, nishailala na katoto kadogo na kuambia kalikuwa tight mbaya. Or these rapists go like, I overpowered her, and I took advantage, and she was so good. Like, I don't want to cry. The recent maandamano that happened on the 25th of June. As I record this is on the 27th of June. So it has just happened. And in the evening while people were trying to go home, there were goons hired by our government who were harassing women, raping them. And someone went online and actually wrote, kuna kamoja kenye nili na nikamwaga ndani yake, nilisikia poa sana. This man wrote this online and nothing will be done to him. Nothing. And if he did that to a grown woman, what has he done to children that are around him? Because I always say this, a rapist is a rapist. It doesn't matter. A rapist is a rapist. Tangu akuwe mdogo alikuwa tu nayo tabia, because I've heard of stories where cousins come out and say that, the first person who had sex with me was my cousin and we were 12. And I was 10, I don't know. And they were 12 or 13 and they cornered me, or they did this or I did this. And I ended up having sex with them. There was a girl who was on Lingugi's show, I think this is a couple of years ago. She said her cousins were the ones who used to hurt her. Take turns. Mark you, she was around 10. The cousins were around 12. The cousins would bring their friends to come and take advantage of her. Let that sink in. And these were kids, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, doing this to their younger cousin. So a rapist is a rapist. From a young age, they are. It's something they're born with and you cannot convince me otherwise. Because anybody else will feel some type of way. And if it can be taught, maybe they were taught by who? Their father? Or who taught them? Or did somebody else hurt them in order for them to go and hurt other people? Because it's as they say, hurt people hurt others. Maybe that's what happened, because what would explain that? And then this 10-year-old girl got so used to this torture that she ended up ruining her own life. She says that she had an abortion at the age of, 16, or what age was she? And after that, that has weighed so heavily on her since, because the baby was old enough. It was a formed baby, tiny but formed. And she had the third when that baby was dropping into the bucket below her. This is just so sad. It's just so hard. It's just so disheartening, because I do not understand what people think or what goes through their minds when they're hurting other people. When you take your daughter's, your sister's daughter, your own daughter, your relative's daughter, your neighbor's daughter, and you do this to them, or even son, and you do this to them, what is actually going on in your mind? What are you thinking about? If it's just Pleasure, why can't you find somebody who's old enough and who will consent to what you're doing? I just don't get it. I don't. And the families that come together and cover up for the man who has had a little child, those people should all be arrested. All of them. There was a story where just this past month, because this is going to be coming out in July, there's a story a while back where this man was arrested because he was sleeping with his firstborn, and then he started sleeping with the secondborn when she was born. And the secondborn is much younger. They are children below 10 years old. And now the older kid and the mother are upset with the younger kid because she slept with their father. And there was another story where the mother never really forgave her daughter because this child was sent from school because she didn't have school fees. She hadn't fully paid her school fees. She went to her mom. Her mom told her, go and tell your dad he's in the farm. The girl went to the farm and told the dad, and the dad was like, if you want me to give you school fees, strip naked and lie on the grass. And the child didn't know what she was doing, but she agreed to what the father said. And this man took advantage of his own kid. And then he threatened her that if she were to tell anybody of what just happened, he was going to kill her mom. And I think she has a younger sister or something like that, that he was going to kill the mom and I think the other sibling. So this child couldn't tell anybody. And he also told her that anytime she needed anything for school, that was the same thing she would have to do. Akihitaji pencil, akihitaji rubber, akihitaji, no matter what she needs from him, in order for him to provide, she will have to sleep with him. And this child did that and never told anybody until she got pregnant. Because when she got pregnant, the mom took her to the hospital and they tested, and yeah, she was pregnant. Everybody was asking her who is responsible because she never goes anywhere. And if your child, you see them, they're either at school or at home, yeah, the perpetrator is in your home or at church where you take them on Sundays. So yeah, the perpetrator is there. And so this man was arrested because she gave birth. The DNA test was done and it was proved that it's the man who was responsible. The mom became so upset with the daughter. She was trying, because again, it was only in Ngugi's show. The mom tried to behave like, yeah, she had forgiven her because it wasn't the daughter's fault, which it's true. It wasn't the daughter's fault. But you could see the pain on her face, hear the pain in her voice. Because I remember a point she said like, mbona mtoto hakusema? Mbona alikuwa analala na baba yake? As if it was her choice. Not at one point did she ask, why did this man do this to my child? And then biological, seti ni baba wa kambo, biological dad. Isn't that a sick man? And they're out there. So many families out there know of a brother, of a cousin, of an uncle, of a dad, of a priest, of an imam, or whatever that has done that to a child in a community and they have had to keep quiet about it. Kama ni pastor, imam, akatolewa huko mali huko, akapelekwa mbali, mtoto abaki ndo endelee kusoma. Father umetolewa Nairobi, amepelekwa Kajiado, akiendelea na unafiki huko, usherati huko, nyesifu huko, mali amepelekwa hakuna watoto wengine. Because wanasema it was just like a slight mistake. Alikosea tu this one time. Hatafanya tena. Si pastor umekubali utafanya tena. Wanamwekea mikono, wanaomba, wanakemea mapepo ya rape na pedophilia. Alafu wanamtoa Nairobi, wanampeleka Kajiado. That is a rapist. That is a pedophile. They're not going to change. I love that thing that the West does, where if a man has been arrested of pedophilia, they will never be allowed anywhere near children for the rest of their lives, I think. Yeah, it can be for the rest of their lives or it can be for some time. but they're usually restricted from being near children, even those of their own family. Like even if you're a dad and you are a convicted sex offender, you cannot see your child unless you have supervision. You are never allowed to be near children by yourself, like ever. That includes schools, churches, malunaishi, and tell me, where in this world will you go where there are no children around you? So, I wish that law came to Kenya. I wish our politicians, instead of, doing crazy things and passing stupid bills that they do, they would actually pass this one. And Femicide KE and Usikimi have been talking about all the offenses that women go through every single day. And these lawmakers do nothing about it. The women that are in parliament do nothing, say nothing about it. Instead, they go online to congratulate each other when one of them is going to give birth in the US because she says she cannot give birth in Kenya where her juniors would have to take care of her. They can't see her naked. Like nurses ni juniors wake, mbona wamuone akiwa kwa hiyo njia ya kuzaa? Why? So she had to go and give birth in the US. Honestly, instead of passing such important bills like this one, I wish sex offenders would not be allowed to live near children for the rest of their lives. And castration should be a thing. As long as they've been proven to be guilty, beyond a reasonable doubt, guilty, let them be castrated and let them be restricted from being near children for the rest of their lives if they were to be released early or something like that. They should register as sex offenders so that no matter where they go, they will be known. Those imams, those priests, those fathers, those pastors, wherever, whenever they leave, wametolewa Nairobi, wamepelekwa sijui Garissa, wakifika Garissa, they should be listed as sex offenders. So that parish where they've gone, that church wherever they have gone, they can be notified. Watu wa hiyo mosque wajue huyu hafai kuachwa na watoto peke yake because he's had children before. I really wish that this country took such offenses very seriously. Somebody was talking to me about this story just last week and they were telling me that there are these twins whose mom lives she works in the UAE. And she left her twins with her sister. And their dad lives somewhere in Kericho. So they live in the village. And this sister apparently has no power over these children because whenever she tells them to do something, they tell her she's not their mom. So they're around 12 or 13, then grade 9. So that means that is either 13, 14, I think. And these children, there's this man in that village who's using them for sex. He's a grown man with a wife and children of his own. And he's paying this, I'll call him a pimp because he's the middleman. He pays this man a lot of money to bring children to him to sleep with. And he does that, uses these twin sisters. So today is one twin sister, the next time is the other twin sister. And I don't know how many other kids. The ones I know of are these twin girls. So I don't know if he's doing the same with other children, but I'm sure he is. Then he comes and gives these little girls 50 shillings and they accept and they go and sleep with him. So when their aunt tells them anything, they think they're all grown. So they can't be told anything. They know what they're doing, but they don't. And the way our African minds are set, very stupidly by the way, very ignorantly by the way, is that such a child, people will look at that child and be like, huyu ameharibika, achana na yeye. Huyu ako na tabia mbaya, anajirusha kwa wanaume huku na kule. And they blame the child. They don't blame this grown man who throws himself in between the thighs of a child to get whatever relief. They don't blame that man. And they actually never talk about him. It's always, I remember one time, there was this rumor in another village I know of that they were saying a man has gotten his daughter pregnant. The women in that village were blaming the wife who left them because she thought this man was a good man. And then he became a drunkard. And so she left and came to Nairobi to look for money in order for her children to go to school. The daughter and the other children remained with the dad. He was the one who was living with them. Yes, he would leave and go drink, but as I said before, let's normalize leaving the children with the father as well. It wasn't true. The girl wasn't pregnant and the dad wasn't doing anything to her. But the way the women in that village were talking about this child and the mother, huyo mtoto ndo amejipeleka kwa baba yake. What do you expect? Mama akitoka ende Nairobi kukaa huko, anaacha baba na mtoto msichana. Anaacha aje bwana yake kwa village peke yake. Si ataendea mtoto tu. And I was like, how did we normalize this? How did we normalize this? That yeah, kama bibi yake hayuko, ataendea tu mtoto. When did the child become the substitute for the wife? When? So my wife is not here, so I'm going to substitute her with my daughter. Yo. As I said, nausea. It's so disgusting to me that I'm actually shaking while talking about this. Because make it make sense. And how are we okay with it? Because if you're okay with such a thing, then you are an enabler. That means you're okay with this thing happening. Maybe it happened to you too when you were younger, and because nobody took any action to protect you, you think that it's normal, but it's not normal. When I was a child, I remember there's this man who grew up in the same compound that I grew up in. And when I was younger, I remember my childhood friend telling me that this man told her, wakaruke wa kitanda yake. When she told me this the first time we were children, so I laughed about it. She was also laughing because we were like, mbona nakwambia ukaruke wa kitanda yake? Guy, yani mtu mzima. Yeah. And it didn't hit me what that actually meant until when I was an adult. And I was like, dang. Now, I can't call her and be like, so did you ever go? Did he ever do something? But then another child from the same compound told me that he'd done something to them. Funny thing, this is a man with children. And he did that to a child who was his child's friend when they were about the same age. And I got so upset. I remember when I was told this story and I was like, should I have done something? Like, should I have reported him? I had no proof. And it's only one child who came forward and told me, my childhood friend, we haven't spoken for years, so I don't know if she'll be willing to say anything. I wouldn't even know how to talk about that subject. And is there any other? Because if he was courageous enough to do that to a child who has an entire family by them, who is a friend of his own child, how many more children did he hurt? And I said I grew up at Gertrude Children's Hospital. This man works in a hospital. Children's hospital. So, why is this normal? Why is this normal? And I get it. I get why people go like, okay, no, leave him, he's a dad, blah, blah, blah. Because even when I had it the first time, I was like, maybe tushikane tu watu wengi, I don't know, we ask around, maybe if he did this to you, he did it to somebody else, and maybe we'll gather enough people and we can go and report. And then the other thing that came into my mind was like, he has a wife and he has children. So, what will happen to them? What will the children think and feel? But I'm like, no, he had children. He did. And nobody did anything to him. No parent realized, and we were in a compound full of parents. None of them realized what this man was doing right under their noses. To say that I hate him is an understatement, but he did that. Na mali amehamia saizi. Sijui mali anaishi kama kwa compound pia kwa ploti fulani na watoto. What is he doing to those children as well? So I'm like, me keeping quiet, knowing that he did something to a child that I know of, does that make me an accomplice? Does it make me as sick as he is? Because people like just joking about things, calling the child the problem. A woman is raped and the first thing people ask is, alikuwa amevaa nini? No one ever blames the man who hurt them. Same thing, when a child is hurt by their dad, people blame the child and they blame the mom. Mbona mama alitoka akamwacha? They never blame the man who hurt this child. They never think beyond what that child is going through at the moment. Like, imagine growing up and for it to finally sink in that my dad did this to me. My dad was so sick in the head that he took advantage of me. And I'm just supposed to live with it. How is that girl supposed to have intimate relationships, knowing that the first person who ever touched them was the man who sired them? And I know that therapy works, but how many people can actually afford therapy? Because there is a thing called selective amnesia, where that thing will happen and you forget about it. It will happen again, you forget about it. It will happen again, you forget about it. And then it hits you when you are an adult. When you finally thought that I've saved myself all this time, I've met the love of my life, and now I can give myself to somebody wholeheartedly. And the moment they touch you, you remember everything. Tell me how that child is supposed to heal. Now she's a grown-up, but she's still a child. Because they say you are stuck at the age where your first trauma ever happened. So this person is a child inside. They have to learn to heal that part of them as an adult. And they're healing that part of their childhood as an adult. Maybe they're in their marriage or they're just about to get married or something like that. And that's when they're supposed to start healing their inner child. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm going to stop it at that because, I think our lawmakers should do something about this. They should, honestly. If you are proven guilty of pedophilia, of rape, you should go to prison for the rest of your life. And you should be castrated while you're in there. And as for the women who do that to young boys, I don't know what can be done to them, but something should be done to them as well, to make them never have the urge to ever want to touch any other person, ever. And young boys should learn that if you're 12, 13, 14, or even 10, and your house girl starts touching you, you should report it to your mother or your dad, whoever. Any adult that you feel comfortable enough to report to, you should do it. And that person who is doing that should be sent to prison, because that is rape. Whether you want to admit it or not, it is. Seeing boys online, I'll call them boys, because there's no grown man who will go online and be like, mimi mbochi wetu angetaka, angejaribu kunishika ningefurahi tena sana. No man will go online and be like, kuna ticha mazia nilikuwa nimemdai mbaya sana, na angenitaka mimi ningekubali. While you are 12, while you are 13, when you are 14, men should be taught what rape is and what they shouldn't accept to happen to them, especially in their younger years. And they should also know that when they say no, women should listen and be like, okay, sawa, it's okay, stop. No is a sentence. If I say no, that's a sentence. You stop whatever it is that you're doing. And consent can be withheld at any time. I can give consent and then in the middle of it, change my mind and say no. I'm not comfortable continuing with this. And when I say that, that person that I'm with should stop. So parents, tafadhali, can you listen to your children? Women who divorce their husbands or their men walk out on them and then they go and get married to other men, listen to your children. If you have children, listen to them. When you wake up in the middle of the night and that man is not beside you, can you wake up and go and look for them where they are? Because chances are they're in your child's room or wherever it is that your children sleep. I've heard of stories where house girls were watching pornography with children, where house girls were teaching children all these things. Na unakuja nyumbani unashinda mtoto wangu amebadilika kwa nini? Kumbe house girl ndo kazi anawafanyishanga. So can you parents be alert? Can you be attentive? And be your children's number one protector. When you hear the priest, the imam, the pastor, the bishop has done something to your child, do not put him first. Learn to respect God more than these men of God. And when I say men of God, I put it in quotes. Love God more than you love those men of God. Because God wouldn't hurt a child. But this supposed man of God did. And after they do, make sure they understand their preachings, that they are going to go to hell. Send them there if you have to, if you're in the position to do it. Let them know what it feels to be like in hell. Because it's not fair. You cannot be preaching water and drinking wine. And people are supposed to come to you for advice. What will you tell people after you've been caught with your pants down, hurting a child? Or anybody else, actually. So, cousins, uncles, fathers, sijui, other male relatives and neighbors. I'm not saying to fear them because not all of them are bad. But can we be careful and teach our children to be talking to us about such things? Tell them nobody should touch their private parts, and if they do, they should come and report. And no matter what anybody threatens them with, hata akiwaambia nitakuua na mama yako, let them hear it and still come and tell you exactly, like that child in Nyeri did. They were threatened too, but they still reported. And that man was burnt alive. And I say again, I'm so grateful that that happened to him. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So if you have listened to this point, hope you agree with me. And if you don't, I don't want to hear it. Unless you don't, and you have a better solution for this craziness that is going on online and just everywhere else. I'm so sorry for the women, and I hear some men too, who were raped during the Mandaman on the 25th of June. I'm so sorry. So sorry. May you go to counseling, may you heal. Because, hey, I can't even begin to understand the pain and the trauma that you are going through. May you heal. And may we, as Kenyans, win one day against these fights. May the fight that Usikimi and Femicide KE are trying to fight for us be eventful at some point. May they win. May we win. So, and let's take care of each other. Let's take care of each other. Usione mtoto akiumizwa mahali and the first thing you say ni mtoto ako na tabia mbaya. No. Let's be our brother's keepers, okay? It's not hard to do so. Ukiambia mtoto akose kusikia, tafuta mzazi wake waambie. Na mzazi asiposikia, I don't know, report it to the police or tell somebody else who you think will listen and help this child. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. So please, if you have stories like that or just want to share words of encouragement to the people who have suffered through this, comment on the comment section down below. Comment on my Instagram, because if this is up here, it's also up there. So please comment there. And remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I post something new, you'll be among the first people to come and, listen and watch or whatever it is that you do. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Bye-bye now. Love you.